Remember that movie Elysium? That douchebag dude had that nose piece, allowed him to breathe the air on Earth. I need one of those. You guys who invent, it'd be a good invention. I'd buy it. Hell, I'd buy 5 of them. Similar to the P100 filter, or better, probably better, right? Put it in a nose piece. Just gotta keep your mouth shut all day, and it's a good excuse not to have to talk to people if you don't want to. All right, so the rundown. Front section is for me. This is going to be fully functional for me to operate out of with the animals and me on the go, bug out. Bottom section right here is gonna house goats. In here, I'm putting this pole. It supports. I have to be weight conscious because this is a single axle trailer. So I have to really minimize the weight load as much as possible as I build, because the animals are gonna go in here too. Not all the animals, not all the biggest animals like the pigs, no cows or nothing, but it'll be goats, birds, and then rabbits in a 3-layer system here. Front section for me, which I'm gonna install wood burning as well. It's gonna be cool. This is the center of operations where I can branch out from here if I need to relocate in a pinch, using wires to support the layers to minimize the weight load. So you'll see how I string those between. Then I'm gonna put a tarp on top of that, and that'll be enough to support the weight of the animals. You see, as we get in here, it's built just tall enough for me to have clearance. And then over here, I'll be able to operate right here, feeding and doing water. From this point to this point will be for the birds in here. And wrap the wires around each point out here, strung tight, so that will support the birds in here. And then I can customize it accordingly later. But the whole idea right now is get it all together, get the shell and get it done, and then get in and customize and tweak it and start adding animals to test it, all that. And then on top it's going to be another chamber for the rabbits. And I'll have to have a taller ladder or a way to get up there and work on them a little bit. That's not a big deal. Figure that right out. And then up here, it's going to slant down, and I'm going to have it angled so that it helps with the wind and doesn't have resistance up here, but it's going to stop right about here and come on down. Sold a pig, one of the barrows, to get in there and hog tie him and wrestle him all up in the mud. I just got out of the mud. A lot of work, even at 180, 200 pounds, but still a lot of work. I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest. There's probably a better way to do that than the way that I had to do it today. It's just like pig boards and pushing the pig up onto a trailer, but it wasn't that easy today. I'm really going forward, very mindful, very much avoiding trauma in the way that I raise animals, the processing when I go to harvest them, to make it as quick and least traumatic as possible. With the in-between, their whole life, I want it to be complete love and joy for these animals up until the moment that I use them to keep myself alive. Like with castration, something I said a few videos ago, and it's really hit me back then, that's very traumatic for piglets in particular, that the baby piglets, their testicles are literally cut and ripped out of them. I saw something before about how it was done, and it was just horrific, and I would never do it. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. How can you have a soul, love, compassion, empathy, and like care about life and do something like that, like castrating children, all the sick shit that's going on around us? But then the animals, even so, is that they're just such pure little life forms that I understand that there's reasons to the practice as old as time. That you don't get breeding when you don't want it. You get better meat when you don't have that testosterone. So like a doe, a female animal, or a castrated animal is going to have better meat quality. But then they had to have that trauma in life. And that trauma is scarring to that soul. See, I've been through a lot of traumas. Just this last year, even in particularly. A lot of loss really close to me. A lot of change, a lot of relocating, just intensive. And it's really been a hard-hitting wake up to just how precious, finite, and valuable life is, and your attitude and actions towards all the little living creatures around you. So, act with integrity. Man up. If you're going to eat the animal, you don't need to put them through trauma. Eat the meat. Would you like to be castrated? I'll come over there and rip your balls out of your sack. See how you like it? Meat of an animal that's been treated like garbage. It's been through a lot of trauma. Lived a shit life. You're absorbing that energy. That is affecting your spirit. New agey, right? But it's not. It's the other side of the coin here. You're feeding your animals all organic, and you're doing all the holistic practices, but then there's parts in between where this animal has still suffered. That's scarring the soul of the animal. And you eat that animal, intuitively, I know that can't be good for me. Look, the wire. Level, right? If anything, it's slightly slanted towards the post, which would be good because over time, as we all know, shit starts a sagging. You gotta stop. A few more that way, a few more this way, crisscross as well. A few over top of that, we'll sit the tarp. Got a few wires down. As I'm laying the wires, I'm pulling tight, really giving them some tension so that it holds tight. Do the same thing for the upper run for the rabbits. Wires and tarp, wires and tarp. Wall it off. Tarps are gonna go on the outside to add an exterior layer protection, blocking the view, the elements. Yeah, look at all that. Yeah, there's one over there. That stuff is all out in front of the sun. So, I do not consent. The universe will take care of this problem at some point. Karma, catch up to the people doing this. Spraying us like bugs. It's not human. So, ultimately, it's got to go. Until then, till the universe takes care of it, you have to continue to call it out and raise awareness. It's all over the place. First 50, 60 degree day. I had my shirt off today working. Yeah, it's like me to live in a barn that's not even fully finished yet. Hey, look, a whole stack of hay. That's great. So, stocked up there. That's promised to be organic, and that's incredibly important. Trailer over there. There's yard out there. So, all that's going to get grazed this season. That pond's going to get stocked. Got to clean all this up. Trim all this down before it really starts to grow. And hack away at opening this spot up here. So there's a bunch back here. That's got to get cleaned and organized still. And it's come a long way since I got here last season. It was a bit messy, and I've straightened and cleaned up a whole lot, done a lot. And there's a lot more to do still. It's big time running through my head right now, all the things today. Feeling like the first day of spring. Garlic is in here. This whole area is going to get opened up in a big way to plant food all in here. This is where I was with the tents. But now that I have my luxury stay, I don't need the tent area. So, working on the trailer project. That's a huge deal. Contingencies. Bug in, bug out. You never know if you're coming or going. I don't care what you say. think you're gonna stay? You could have to leave in an hour. Take as much as you can. You could. That's the brilliance and preparedness, is you set up for both worlds. And you look crazy the whole time you're doing it, because none of it seems to fit until it's needed, right? So like when the SHTF, then everything you've done becomes active, but until then it lays dormant and people think it's crazy talk. There's this whole thing there that's it's like a big separation from people who either get it or don't.